Okay, I think we're good to go. Just want to welcome everybody out today. Thank you for coming to support Mayor Rosenberg in Santa Clara City. My name is Jordan Hess. I apologize. Don Willie is still on his way, our president at the chamber. So I'm going to kick us off so we can get started. We would first like to start with a pledge of allegiance. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance by Santa Clara Councilwoman Krista Hinton.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're really excited to be here today. I love Santa Clara City. My parents, they live in Florida, and they came to visit, and it happened to be the weekend of Swiss Days, and so I brought them over to Swiss Days across the street, and we just had such a great time. There we go. Would our board members or Chamber Sunshiners please stand? We would like to recognize you and thank you for your support today. Thank you, everybody. Please take pictures and be sure to take pictures today and post them to your social media, to your Instagrams, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, tag your business, tag yourself, tag Santa Clara City and the mayor so that we can show our support online. I just want to mention some upcoming events. You have these on the table in front of you with the QR code where you can scan and register for these events right on your phone. Tomorrow night is our Chamber Family Night at Dixie State University men's basketball. And they are doing amazing. They beat Utah Valley, Grand Canyon, so they're doing really well. Tickets are free for Chamber members, your friends and family, and you get a voucher for a hot dog and a drink. So register online for that tomorrow night. We have our Chamber Serves trash pickup with the nonprofit Love Where You Live. This is on Friday, 3 p.m. at the airport exit off of Highway 7. We will be meeting there at 3 p.m. for trash pickup, so feel free to join us. You can register online on the Chamber website or just show up. We'll have water and snacks. The vest will be provided with bring your own gloves. And then March 31st is our Element Awards at the Dixie Convention Center. This is our annual event to recognize women who are doing amazing things in the economy and in our community here in Washington County. We did our first of these events last year, and we're really excited for our nominees this year who will be recognized on March 31st. Get your tickets on the Chamber website. Right now, I'd like to turn the time over to the mayor, Mayor Rick Rosenberg. He and his wife moved here in 1989, and they raised 4 children in their Lava Flow Drive neighborhood. He graduated from Utah State University in 1984 with a BS degree in civil and environmental engineering, and he's the founder of Rosenberg Associates. It's a full-service civil engineering and land surveying firm headquartered in St. George. He's been actively involved in public service for over 22 years, now serving as mayor after serving on the city council for 6 years and as a planning commissioner. His leadership has been critical in times of need here in the community, especially with the flooding that Santa Clara saw in 2005, 2010, and again in 2012. He's a native son of pioneer stock here, so he's a strong supporter of the community's heritage and the annual Swiss Days. He's an avid fly fisherman and enjoys trips to Alaska, Lake Powell, and other destinations as time permits. So Santa Clara is in good hands with Mayor Rosenberg at the helm. We're excited to have him today so that we can hear all about the great things happening in the city here. And I'll turn the time over now to the mayor. Might cut out on you.
We just use this for newbies that come into town. It gives us a pretty good laugh once in a while. Can you hear me okay in the back? Okay, good. I want to thank Christelle Hill, my assistant right here. She's put together all the graphics, and if I need her, I know she'll be right here by my side helping out. But welcome to Santa Clara. I hope you feel welcome. I hope you come out and stay for a little while. I hope you come out and spend a little money while you're here. That always helps. Bring your friends, bring your family, but come out and enjoy Santa Clara. Santa Clara is a great little community, and due to some geography and some boundary issues, it'll probably stay a great little community for a long time to come. Our population right now, depending on who you ask, the census says we're 7,500, but I know at least 1,500 of them were in St. George the day they came, and so we think we're closer to 9,000. But we're a little over 3,000 homes or businesses that make up Santa Clara. Santa Clara has been growing relatively quickly, same as all the communities in the area. We have our share growth going on out here. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We were established in 1854. One of the first settlements in southern Utah. The Swiss colony came down, and Jacob Hamlin was here working with the Shivwitz band, and the Swiss colony came down, and about 30 years later they learned how to speak English, and then they were off and running. I know that because they sent one of my great-great-grandfathers came down, and was one of the first bishops in Santa Clara. They chased him out about 8 years later. They finally learned how to speak English and they could fire him, so they chased him out, and he went down to Bunkerville and started another place. But so I do have some roots in Santa Clara. I'm a Cedar kid. I was born and spent most of my childhood traveling around with my dad, but Cedar was always home. It's where my grandparents lived. It's where my family came from. I met my wife 3 doors up the street from my grandparents' house, and the rest is history. But we came down here with the economy and the market, and St. George needed engineers, and so we came down. We were lucky enough to start our own business, and it's been a great ride ever since. Mayor Hafen, several mayors back, asked me to serve on the Planning Commission, and I'm really glad that I said yes, because it started a new phase for me in my career. And working with the city, I can't even talk about it. I tend to tear up, so I'm going to leave that. It's been great. That's my second family. I love them all to pieces. They know that, and I appreciate all of them. Santa Clara has our own utility departments. We own our own power system. We own our own water system. We maintain our own sewers, streets, storm drains within the city. I've got my staff is kind of ganged up here. They've been charged to laugh at any joke if I make them, and make sure that, at the end it's a standing O, guys. They know that. But I want to introduce a few of them here to you because I'm proud of them all. Clara is our interim fire chief. She's an EMT on our fire department. We also have fire department and public safety out here. We share our fire department and our police department with Ivans, and also our justice court. We provide the justice court here that serves Santa Clara and Ivans. We also employ the fire and the rescue unit. They're employees of Santa Clara City, and Ivans employs our police department. We share the cost. By population, Ivans pays about 55%, Santa Clara pays about 45%. But they're employees of the city that they're hired in. And it really enabled us to double our service to our residents for both communities for about half the cost. And it's worked out very well. I think everybody that's been around the two departments, they're very professionally run, and we appreciate them. So thank you, Clara. We've got a new fire chief that we just hired. Andrew Parker will be starting when, Brock? Monday. I was hoping he'd be here today, and then I remembered he's not even here yet. He'll be starting on Monday, and we're excited about him. He's a young captain that's coming out of Southern California, Rancho Cucamonga. He's got a tremendous amount of energy, and we're excited to have him on board. Dustin Moritzen oversees our our water and our sewer and our streets department, and he does a great job. We've got some great streets. The condition of our roads are top notch, and I appreciate all the work that Dustin does there. Gary Hall is over our power services department. Like I say, we own our own power company. Gary does a great job with a small staff in keeping the lights on down here, and we appreciate him. Got some new players. Jim McNulty is our new city planner. Came down from Salt Lake County recently, and we're seeing the benefits of that hire as well. Cody Mitchell's a new building inspector. We kind of pirated him away from Ivans, but he's doing a great job. And so we got some new people, and we really appreciate them. Excuse me. Brock Jacobson, bring me my water, would you? City manager, kind of runs the ship. And Brock hired on here when he was about 13. During my 10 years as mayor, I've worked with 4 city managers. So it seems like you get one trained, something happens. Brock's stucking around probably the longest out of all of them, and I appreciate him. And I hope he sticks around at least for another 4 years, because I don't want to train any more city managers. Scott Bannon, it helps out with Brock. Scott came from code enforcement. If you need somebody to diffuse a situation, he's got 20 plus years of police, then he went to code enforcement. Now he can diffuse almost any angry resident. He has to be to all the meetings. That's mandatory for him. Excuse me. Brad Hayes, our parks director, oversees the parks and the trails. And if you look at the condition of our parks and Goobler Park and our ball fields and our trails, Brad does a great job, and I appreciate Brad. I've got 4 city council people here, and Drake's probably on the golf course. But Ben Shakespeare and Jarrett Wake, Krista Hinton, Lena Mathis do a great job. I've been fortunate throughout my career as mayor to have great city councils. And Mayor Randall can probably attest to having the support that it brings to a mayor's office and having a great supportive city council. And I appreciate her being here. We've got a bet tonight. Tonight we got state championship basketball. Dixie and Snow Canyon. Okay? The loser has to buy the other city council and mayor pizza and deliver it to their meeting. So if you've got any influence on this game, go Snow Canyon. But I appreciate the relationship we have with St. George. We're I've called us a baby sister to St. George. We look to them for a lot of support and a lot of leadership, and they give us weight when we go to negotiate something with the legislature, with some of the state agencies. If we can work together with them, we're not just a little community out here. We're part of something bigger, and we've been fortunate to have all the communities down here really be able to work together well. Mayor Staley at Washington and former Mayor Nielsen, Mayor Randall and her predecessor, John Pike. Christy's here. It's good to see you, Christy. We've had great relationships, Mayor Hart and out in Ivans, and we work together on a lot of things. We share a lot of information. Mayor Hart and I share staff. I mean, we share facilities. And so we really have a close relationship with them, and it's been a really good thing for a smaller city to have that ability to do that. Our population, like I said, is about 9,000. Our annual budget last year was $8.2 million. It'll be a little higher this year. Our revenues are up. But what I want to talk about a little bit is some of the goals that we got going forward. Okay, Christelle. I don't want to mess it up, so I ain't touching it. Just hit the arrow? Sweet. Okay. I want to build resiliency into this community, even more than where we are. If you've been here for any length of time, if you can remember 2005, January 10th of 2005, these dates are just embroiled into the back of my head. When we had major flooding in the Santa Clara River, we lost 21 homes. And when I say lost, we didn't just get them wet, they went away. They were there one day and gone the next. Bridges, roadways, utilities. I want to make the Santa Clara River, especially through Santa Clara City, as hardened and as flood resistant or flood damage resistant as I can. We want to maintain the vegetation. It's critical that we maintain the vegetation in the river. The engineer in me kicks in when I start talking about flood control. The Santa Clara system has Gunlock Reservoir, which is great, allows us to store water for irrigation and culinary needs, but it doesn't allow the normal flooding to happen in the river downstream. So instead of getting a channel forming flood every 10 years that comes down and kind of moves the vegetation and the debris out of the way, we can go 50 years without one. What happens in that 50-year period is the vegetation in the river tends to get thick, tends to get dense, and that's what happened prior to the 2005 flood. You could go down there and walk across it, take one step, get across the stream, and have large cottonwoods within an arm reach of each side. When that large flood eventually came, it filled Gunlock and it spilled over, and we had a significant flow through the city. There was no place for the water to go. So it spills out over its bank, it finds all this nice cultivated field, and says, I'm a lot happier out here than in that clogged up river, and I destroy everything on the adjacent side. The river the channel just sits there and doesn't have any flow capacity. All the flow's in the bank, causing all kinds of damage. So it's critical that we maintain that vegetation in there. We work closely with the Flood Control Authority that's partnered with St. George and Washington and Santa Clara and Washington County we collect $1.50 from every residential water connection in all of the cities. We pool that money. We go after federal grants and private grants and land development money, and we do what we can in the rivers. A lot of the armament that came in the river was put in by the NRCS with grants to the cities or by FEMA on a replacement projects. And we've taken that little bit of money via the Flood Control Authority and we've multiplied it by 4 to 5 times. And we've been able to generate millions of dollars that can go back into the system to keep those floods from happening again. We saw that in 2010. We had a flood that was 20% bigger than the 2005 flood, and we didn't drop any houses in the river. The results of some of the activities we did after 2005. Mother Nature said, well, if you've done that, then I'll get you another way. In 2012, she broke one of our dams and flooded another 61 homes and 19 businesses. Santa Clara Business District was basically wiped out at that point in time in 2012. It's all been rebuilt. We've got a whole lot better structure than what was there originally built in 1919. And we're making the community more resilient to that. We really monitor our encroachments into the floodway and floodplains. We've got erosion hazard zones in place. It's all in place by ordinance to make the river stronger, to make the community more resilient against flooding. And we're going to continue our involvement in doing that. Okay, touch the arrow. Okay, now you're really fun about Santa Clara. If you're not into flooding, how about landslides? We had our very own landslide. And the city ended up buying 4 homes that were built with an incredible view that tended to change. We've got the potential for more. You can see this is the Truman Drive landslide after we fixed it. Those steel caissons were put in the 90s thinking they could put in a big concrete and steel caisson and hold the mountain up. Yeah, the mountain didn't like it. We ended up basically pulling 4 homes and pulling all the soil out from under the homes to reduce the loading on the hill so that it would stand up. But we've got other homes around the heights that are built right out on the edge. And so the risk of other landslide events is real in the city. We require, and the other famous thing about Santa Clara, and anybody here in real estate knows, what is it? Blue clay. Yeah, we're the home of it. We're really it's everywhere down here. We're just a place where it gets a little too close to the surface and has a big impact. So we've had, some problems with the clay heaving homes that have had to go back in and be repaired. We require geotech on every home that's built. They have to know where it is. They have to mitigate the potential risk by ordinance. Since we put those ordinances in place, the distresses in the community have gone way down. And we're going to continue that. We monitor the groundwater levels. We were awarded, I think, Mayor Randall, you guys are in year 2 or something of your DSU, the Dixie State Alliance, the Community Alliance program. We're the new player with Dixie Alliance. I'm excited about that. We've started our meetings this year. We're putting our programs together. Next fall, we're going to have Dixie State University students out here doing groundwater modeling or monitoring. They're going to be doing vegetation monitoring in the river. All these things on my to-do list are just getting pushed to college kids. And I'm going to love it. I'm super excited about it. They're going to help us with some of our economic studies. We're going to go in and look at neighborhoods and see, is this neighborhood contributing to the overall good, or is it taking from the overall good? We did this study back prior to the streetscape. Some of the newer neighborhoods contributed. Some of the older ones took from it. So they had a cost-benefit ratio less than 1. We're going to look at that again. We're going to look at our short-term rentals and see what kind of economic impact they're having. We're going to do some fun stuff, but the groundwater study in the Heights, I'm excited about that, to keep that going and get it done. We monitor the encroachments on the hillsides, and the building inspector really gets in trouble if he lets something go. We don't want to do another landslide. We don't want to have to move people out of homes. It's hard enough to buy a home. And we got a FEMA grant to pay 75% of the cost on that. Moving the family out of the home, that's where it's hard. And I get emotional on that, not because of these homes, but when I was a teenager, we had to move my home in Cedar. My mom and dad's home sank. They were on some hydrocollapsible soils. You turn on the water, the house sinks into the ground. So they ended up taking their lifetime savings to go buy another lot and physically move that home off of that lot. So it hits here when I go into a home and it's moving. We got to build this community to be more resilient to drought and water shortage. This is all of us are in this boat. We're working with the water district to implement our water conservation ordinance. Ours is on the agenda tonight for approval. Council, if they go the direction I think they will approve our water conservation ordinance tonight, and it'll put new requirements on new development coming into the city as far as limitations on their lawn, limitations on outdoor use, on types of plants, on car washes, on high water usage. That should be approved and be made effectively very soon. It's a little different than St. George's and Washington's, but every one of us, but the basic ordinance is the same. The goal of the ordinance is the same. We want to take that 0.89 acre feet that everybody's using today, and based on our records, we're right up there. We're 0.86. We want to knock it down to 0.78 fast, and we want to eventually get to 0.55 acre feet. Going from 0.89 to 0.55 is a big decrease in water use. And the new development, I think, is going to be fine getting there. I think, talking to the Home Builders Association, they'll be able to achieve that. Now we got to go back and start looking at our large water users. This year we converted 70 acres of lawn area in the city properties, our parks, town hall, from culinary to secondary. I'm really proud of that. We're going to do some more. We've got another park. We've got to figure out how to switch over. We've got some high-use churches that, they've called me in for PPIs my whole life. It's my turn to call them in for a PPI. They're going to, then you would think they would learn. The churches out here, we don't have that many of them. 2 of them have popped out of the ground because they overwatered and got the blue clay. It expanded and blew the building up out of the ground. So how much more do I need to convince you guys to shut the water off around the church? So I'm hoping those conversations go well. I hope we can get those off. We've got some large individual private users that we're going to try and get into that same mode. I'm excited to see some revenues generated on the conservation rates and on the water surcharge. When you use more water, it's going to cost you. And we're going to take that money and roll it into incentivizing existing lawns within the city to see if we can get the existing residents to pull some out. There's a lot of lawn out there that's really not needed. It's not being used. We don't want to take it all away from you, but if you're not using it, can we convert it to something and save that water? If you think about how are we going to meet the future growth projections? Santa Clara is about there. With our boundaries, we've got about 3,000 homes now. We've got about 3,500 new ones that have been planned in one shape or another, either via development agreement or PD zone change or subdivision approval. And then we're out of land at that point. We can see we don't have a vast expanse. We annexed 1,500 acres in the South Hills thinking that would give us room to grow in the future. Well, it all turned into turtle habitat and astragalus habitat. We've got this really neat endangered species park. At least that's what the BLM tells me. So we can kind of see our development limitations. We're shrinking on opportunities that way. And every piece of property in town except maybe 3 have come to the city about development. They've started that process. So we kind of have an idea what it's going to look like. I think in the future, Santa Clara may go more vertical, though I don't think the Dutchmen in the downtown are going to really dig that idea. So we'll see what happens. But we have the ability to get there, I think, to that 0.55. And that's good for everybody, every community here. If Santa Clara can get there, that's going to help St. George be able to continue with some of its commercial growth. That's going to provide jobs for Santa Clara. I mean, our people live here, but they work there. They own businesses there. They employ people there. We need to work together with them to make sure that that can continue forward in the future. We're supporting a new reservoir on Graveyard Wash. Just what I needed, one more dam in town. And it's right above our power generation station. When I say right above, about here to the TV camera from the power generation station.
We're letting you help design it, though.
Yeah, I know. I get to go to the meetings.
Where's Graveyard Wash?
Graveyard Wash, if you're familiar with the west end of Santa Clara where the city yard is, it's that wash. The dam is right next to the last building up the wash. But it can be done. I know the science, and if it's done properly, I'm okay with it. I'm gonna, plus I won't be mayor then, time they get it done anyway. So, but we need it. We need it. That reservoir is going to allow us to put another 1,000 acre feet of reuse water out there. During the wintertime when we're not using it on the lawns, we can store it there. It's part of a series of water improvements that the Water District is working on with our communities to be able to increase, because that's where the real magic bullet is when it comes to water development. It's being able to take that 20 million gallons a day that we put back into the Virgin River and put it somewhere else that we can use it when we need it. If we can fill those reservoirs in the winter when we're not watering, it'll be there during the summer when we need to water, and then our culinary water can go farther. We can deal with the droughts and the water shortages a whole lot better if we can put that in. We've started a secondary water system. The Roan subdivision, new subdivision in town, has the ability to get secondary connection. We've expanded it into the Heights, working with St. George. The new Solace project is going to have the ability to get secondary irrigation. It's already in the Desert Village project up there. So we've expanded secondary to the Heights. It's serving the Lava Ridge School and Goober Park. We need to convert as much of that as we can over to the reuse, over to the secondary water. Santa Clara's been blessed. We've got a good water right that the people who settled this area put in place for the future, and we're enjoying that now. We need to utilize that to its full potential and then take our ag rights and be able to convert those over to allow the community to continue to grow together. We'll be raising water rates. We'll be doing a lot of the other things that the other communities are doing in order to get that water conservation and make us more resilient to the water shortage. I still support Lake Powell Pipeline. Part of it's selfish. I was there last weekend. I've got a houseboat over there that I share. And there's a boulder coming up in the middle of the marina that is pretty cool if you want to go see it. If you think boulders coming up in the middle of the marina are cool. But that lake is so low, and I love that lake. My kids grew up on that lake. I've spent 30 years exploring those canyons. I don't want to lose that. I'd love to get a little more water in it, and hopefully that can happen. But if it doesn't, we've got to be able to survive on the Virgin. We've got to be able to make it work with what we have, and that's going to take conservation from everybody. I'm worried about this as much as I'm worried about water, is power. Power demands are constantly going up. And you want to get calls? Shut down the power for a little while. Shut down the power on a Tuesday afternoon about 3 o'clock in July. And then shut it down for an extended period of time. When I first moved down here, I can remember a 3-day power outage where power was off metro-wide for 3 days in the summertime. You remember that, Michelle? It sucked. I mean, it was nasty. We're still on the end of a dead-end line. The whole community is. We need to get some more redundancy into that. Santa Clara has got a project. We got $1.3 million budgeted to extend a line down through the South Hills through our endangered species habitat area and tie to St. George at their new Canyon View substation. Critical, important infrastructure that we put in so that we've got a backfeed. So we've got another way to deliver power out here instead of just on the Snow Canyon sub that we're took to now. That's on the works. We put in a power generation station back in 2008, 6. Had generators out there to be able to generate power during peak power. It'll come up here in a minute. During peak power periods, we can generate with our own generators and make money. Because during peak periods, the power rates on the open market are higher. So we could actually fire those generators up, put it back on the line, and make a little bit of money. It also gives us the ability, if there's a power outage, we can fire our generators up and provide for a large portion of the city. We just bought 2 new 2.5 megawatt generators, about $4-point-something million. We're going to expand that generator up to 4 units. The building was built originally to house 4 units. We're going to take it up to the max. We'll be able to generate 9 megawatts. Now, in 2020, our peak load during the summer was 19.3, so we're not covering our peak, but we can cover about half of it. In 21, it was 20. We're projected in 22 to be around 21 megs. If we can generate 9, it'll cover our winter demands. All of our winter demands could be handled in-house if we needed it to. So if we had an outage in the winter, we could fire up the generators and we could serve the entire city's load during the wintertime. During the summertime, we can't provide the entire city's load, but we could do rolling blackouts and you'd be able to get power periodically, through the day to be able to keep your freezers working, charge your cell phones. That's like, used to be freezers working and then lights and then other stuff. Now it's freezers working and cell phones charged. That's the priority that we've kind of gotten into. We'll be able to do that with the expanding of that generator. So that's been really important. We've just implemented a power cost adjustment fee. This is a fee. You guys remember what happened in Texas a couple of years ago? Last winter, during the winter time. Ice storm hits, power goes down, source can't supply. They have to buy it on the open market. Costs go through the roof. So their power supply costs to deliver to their customers, even on rolling blackouts, was huge. Millions of dollars out of their reserves were gone in days. So we've incorporated a power cost adjustment that basically collects a little bit more from residents every month and kind of banks that for anticipated need if we were going to have a problem in the rate spike. With fires in California, we saw that 2 years ago. What the fires in California did to the market, you had power markets that, millions of dollars again getting lost because the fires shut down the solar. Solar doesn't work real good in the smoke. So when the solar efficiency drops, the output drops. We've kicked coal down the road, so we can't fire up the coal plants anymore. We have to wait for the sun to come back out, or we have to go to the open market, and supply and demand kicks in, and you pay a lot more money. So we're trying to hedge that a little bit with this power cost adjustment. The bottom line though is, energy costs are going to continue to rise. With the move to green energy, with taking out the cheap resource with the coal out of your portfolio, your costs are going to go up. We're involved with UAMPS in what they call the carbon-free power project. This is a small module nuclear reactor. The engineer geek in me came out big time when I went to Corvallis and saw this technology. This is technology we've been using in our Navy submarine and Navy ship fleet for years. Nuclear-powered submarines. These are small nuclear reactors. Each one of them is about 50 megawatts, so 5 times bigger than the total capacity of our 4 diesel or natural gas generators. They're housed, completely contained in a water bath. There's no need for pumps. They can you can walk out to them and shut the power off, and they will cool down by themselves without any energy. The technology is there. We're hoping that we're going to get those. We're staying in that project. The power cost so far is not as high as you may think it might be. These are not the big nuclear power plants of our dad's days and our grandpa's days. These are smaller plants. You can modulize them, so you just buy implements of 50 megawatts. They were originally developed to go into developing countries where they had smaller populations and really no power source. And so I think it's going to be I feel personally really good about it. I'm excited to get it on. I'd like to stick around until it's online, but when, Gary?
2029.
I might make that, but I won't make it here. That's the hope, is that that we'll be able to see that, and then we'll have another muscle power source. We won't be relying on a sunny day or the wind to be blowing. We'll have something we can turn on with the switch. I'm excited about that. Something that I am, we're transportation gridlock when you look in Santa Clara and look at these streets. Look how busy they are. I told Christelle, we've got this great video, but we don't have any cars. This is what it used to be like. No cars. Santa Clara's not like that anymore. If you come out here and you want to make a left-hand turn on Santa Clara Drive, especially in one of the peak periods, it's tough. We saw vehicles on Santa Clara Drive increase 9,000 cars a day last year alone. And it's not development in Santa Clara. It's regional traffic that's coming from Ivins, from the northwest part of the county. People going to the South Hill. It's a lot of stuff. And we're trying to come up with some ways. We're working right now to modify some of the intersections in town. Those trees out there are more sacred to me than any species in the South Hills. And I'll guarantee if I went out there and started to cut down a tree that there would be pitchforks and guns show up. This community loves their downtown. That's who we are. Santa Clara Drive represents the heritage and the history of Santa Clara. And I get more compliments from people traveling through the area, either biking or walking or driving Santa Clara Drive. They will go out of their way to drive Santa Clara Drive. So we've got to protect it. We need some other alternate access to get out here and get back to St. George. We're working with the MPO, the Dixie Metropolitan Planning Organization, to start the environmental assessment, the environmental study for the Western Corridor. I'm going to look to Michelle and to Cameron for a lot of help. That project's not budgeted for another 5 years to do the EA. If that means that we'd be building it about the time I turn 90 something. I want to start the EA now. I'm going to go to the Transportation Commission and see if they'll front us some money to get the EA done so that we can start the tedious process of working with the BLM for the right-of-way. Then we'll worry about building it, but let's get the right-of-way cleared. Let's put it in place because we need another alternative access. Pioneer in the Heights is getting busier as well. We have got a lot of, that's our real commercial zone is up there, but we need to protect Santa Clara Drive. Dustin does a great job. We're going to come in and modify some of the intersections. I think you'll see a couple of signals go in the next couple of years in the downtown. You'll see another signal go in on Pioneer Parkway up in the Heights to help with the new development that's planned up there. But it's important for us to relieve some of that gridlock. I want to improve the quality of the service to residents. Every mayor should walk into office with that as the top of his list. Fiber optic communications. Thanks to Jarrett Waite and his understanding of that technology and the need and the desire of residents, Santa Clara has an agreement with UIA, and the engineering is going on right now to bring fiber optic service to every house in the city. Construction's going to start. I've seen the blue stakes starting to happen out there. They've got their hubs located. We're excited. They're going to have formal groundbreaking next month on the fiber optic, and we're excited to see that. They'll have, up to 10 internet providers they can choose from on their city connection. It's with UIA, Utah Infrastructure Agency, formerly Utopia. They don't go by Utopia anymore because that was a bad word then. UIA has got a whole lot better track history. We're confident about it. We're excited about it. They'll be able to, they can pay about $65 a month for 250 megabyte per second, $80 for a gig, and the speed's the same up and down, right? Am I saying that right? I won't have to look at the buffer wheel of death as much anymore. The council has worked hard on it for the last couple of years. They've studied the options, they vetted the providers, and we're excited for that groundbreaking. And I want to thank Jarrett personally because he took the lead on that and did a great job with that. And I have a lot of residents really excited. Every time they watch that buffering wheel of death, they call me and ask me, when am I going to get the chance to hook up? I get more calls like that now than I get on the dogs in the neighborhood, that I get on a lot of other mayor type stuff. Now it's when can I sign up? And so we're excited about that. Our fire department and public safety we've talked a little bit about that. We're going to try and put 3 new full-time firefighters in the budget coming up, the budget for next year. I think council's going to support that. It's going to let us change out of some of the volunteer program that we've been in for a long time to a more full-time staffed and be able to meet the national codes. So we're excited about that as well. And we're excited about the new chief and the energy, like I said, of him coming on. Parks. Well, the planning and building department, our planning and building department was upgraded significantly this last year, in my opinion. The quality of service they give to residents, contractors, new builders, developers, went up big time. And I'm excited about that and the work that they're doing. They're doing a great job, and I appreciate the service. Parks, Brad does a great job with really limited staff and limited budget in keeping our parks, as good as anybody else's out there. We've built the new Memorial Park in the downtown. An exciting thing that's going on is the acquisition of the orchard. The LDS Church gave us the old Chapel Street apricot orchard. They gave it to us if we promised to keep it in open space. We've got a citizen committee that is working on that, and the Dutchmen have their own ideas when it comes to fruit and vegetables. And they do a great job. Jim Entz is back. He's kind of leading that effort. He's got Bryce Fry And you talk about some of the old names. They're coming out to work on this orchard. They came in the other day and they wanted to cut down 400 trees. And all the air went out of the room in the council chambers. They want to tear it down so they can start over, so they can get the right plants in the right place and reduce their maintenance. Their purpose is awesome. The shock and awe of it scares me to death. So I said, come back with a little phase. Let's do the north part, or let's do the south part. And then we'll do the next one in like 2 years when you've got leaves on your new trees. We'll do the next one. Let's bring them in slow, because if I cut down 400 trees, it's not going to be pretty. But I appreciate Brad and all the work that he's doing down there on that community garden. We're going to upgrade the parking lot at the BMX track. It's been gravel forever, and we're going to try and get it paved this spring. With the BMX, if you haven't been out to Santa Clara BMX, come out. It is a hoot to watch those kids and those adults ride that track. And it's really been a neat addition to the community. Jarrett was involved with that with his family as well, and I appreciate that. We're going to get that parking lot paved so that we can host some bigger events out there, some more competition events, and just so you don't have to park on the rocks. So that we're excited about that. There's the BMX right there. Mayor, if you want to have a race, call me. Okay, commercial development, and I'll try and speed through this. There's a lot going on right now on the commercial side in Santa Clara, and I never thought I'd be able to stand in front of any group and say that. I mean, I can remember when our commercial development was 2 gas stations and the fruit stand. That was it. We punched the road through to Ivans. Rachel drive through to Ivans, and Harmon's came. And it's amazing what you can do with that kind of tax revenue where you never had it before. That's, $100,000 a month that you never even saw before. What you can do with that in the city with your parks and with your public safety and all of that. We've got the Harmon's grocery store, the Harmon's Pad B, Cafe Rayo, Capriati's, Bon Appetit, Mountain America Credit Union. It's all in place. Harmon's Pad C was completed in September. We got Swig and Mobetta's. You can get something to eat in Santa Clara now. Buck's Ace Hardware. I fought for Buck's before Harmon's. Buck's was my dream, to get Buck to come out here. Longtime resident of Santa Clara, great friend. Like, how come you can't come out here? Well, he's here now. We're excited about that. The Dollar Tree, completed in March. The Tag and Go in September. We got a real car wash out here. Harmon's Pad A is coming soon. They're building a shell, so we'll have some new restaurant or retail opportunities in there. The Boulevard Home Sleep Better is coming in next to Harmon's. We got a Quench It. We got the Quench It Retail Center. The permit and CO is in February right now. Royal Thai Cuisine. You can get foreign food in Santa Clara now. We've got a Quench It, we've got a Swig. What else do we got? We got 2 more drink shops. They're all within like rock throw of each other. So you got your options. Your moms, the soccer moms, can get their drink, get their car washed, catch the pickup at Harmon's, get the kids and go home. And if you've been there on a Saturday, they're all doing it. We've got a bed and breakfast. Everybody asks me, what's this project across the street? That's the Santa Clara Inn. It's a bed and breakfast in the downtown. Very traditional architecture. We're excited to have it down here. Okay, oh, geez. Oh yeah, I have to wait a minute, right? The residential development on Santa Clara is huge. And we've got it used to be Santa Clara, when I was first elected, we had single-family homes and single-family homes. And then we had a few single-family homes. That was it. This whole community was 10,000 square foot lots or bigger. Now we have townhomes coming in. A year ago, our building permit ratio was about the same, townhomes and single family. This current year, we're doing a 3-to-1 townhome over single family. in Santa Clara. Last year we did 156 building permits through the entire year. This year we're already at 141, and we've got another 4 months to go in the year. We've got a lot of townhome type projects that are going on in the city. You probably drove past the Heritage Point project out on Lava Flow that has come in. We've got the projects that are up in the Heights. Desert Village townhomes are under construction now. They've got occupancy yet, Jim?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Phase 1, 64 units is under construction. Number of those have occupancy. Construction now is on.
Great. It's not all townhomes. We've got 2 large subdivisions. They're coming in. Solace, the Solace subdivision is under construction right now. And we're excited about Solace. Solace is one of the prettiest sites in the city, well, in the county. You look right into the mouth of Snow Canyon across the lava from Solace. Beautiful area up there. It's coming in with single family homes, which is exciting. It's because we're getting a lot of townhomes. We have our first apartment project. Council's approved the zoning for Regal Homes at Black Desert, 199 single level detached apartments, a pure rental project. That's kind of an upgraded apartment, but there's 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms, 1 story and 2 story in there. It's something for I don't know which generation it is, because I get them all mixed up, but the ones that want to have a nice place to live with nice amenities and don't want to own it. That generation, it's a place for them. We've come into Planning Commission we've approved the zoning and they're bringing the preliminary plat in for the Quail Crossing apartments. This is 120 apartments. The first real apartment project that I would call it, because it has apartment buildings coming to Santa Clara. 60 units of those are 80% of the AMI, the Washington County Average Medium Income eligible or less. And they've got them down to 35% of the Washington County AMI that can rent, pre-qualify at state tax credit, helps with their funding. And we can have an attainable home for someone who doesn't make the big money. We haven't really had that in Santa Clara unless you rent somebody's basement. We do have our affordable housing units that are not affordable, accessory dwelling units. Inside the home and outside the home are both allowed in Santa Clara. So you can, if you've got on any single family lot, if you've got a 10,000 square foot lot, you can build a rental on your property. As long as you live there, as long as you follow the requirements, you can have that second income coming in on your property itself. Vineyard subdivision in the valley, another large lot subdivision in the valley, half-acre lots are bigger. So we're going to get some more of what we're famous for. Out here, Hills at Phase 3, another high-end subdivision that's going in right now. Black Desert Plan Development, the golf course. St. George is providing water for a golf course that lives in Ivins and flows through Santa Clara.
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah. It's a big project, biggest project in Santa Clara right now. We'll see. About all I can say on that is we'll see. They are building the golf course. The golf course looks pretty nice up there. I'm glad Michelle's putting the water on it. But that's coming. Silverado, we've got a developer who's talking about a PD that has apartments, it has man caves, and it has like 24 pickleball courts inside with a chicken and pickle restaurant. Yeah, they exist. It's not, Google it. Google it there. It looks that it's pickleball. The biggest demand we got in our parks right now, probably yours too, is pickleball. The most, I'm not going to call them obnoxious, I'm going to call them anxious. Because if they passionate, if they can't get on their court, bad things happen. So yeah, I'm excited about having 24 more pickleball courts for them to just to, give you another place. I can always send them over there. But we're excited about what's happening in Santa Clara. I think the state of the city is good. We're just about maxed out on our reserve funds, which is always a lot better place to be. I was here, in 2008, 2007, the city spent about $28 million in 1 year on the streetscape, on this beautiful building, on reconstruction from the 2005 flood, on a ton of on a new water tank, a bunch of infrastructure. And I was trying to figure out, sitting in my council seat, how are we going to pay for this $28 million on $3 million a year in our budget? But we got that all figured out, Mayor, or Councilman. Well, a couple years later, I became mayor, and right after I became mayor, the recession hit, the Great Recession. We went to 4 building permits a year in the city during the recession. And all those notes came due. And we violated our bond covenants with our power fund. And I got called on the carpet. Talk about getting called to the principal's office. I have to go to the president of the Bank of Utah's office in Salt Lake on the 32nd floor and unzip the kimono and tell him how I think we can put this back together. And it was a struggle. There was a couple of years Brock was finance director. It wasn't any fun being the mayor then. There was a whole lot of stress on how we're going to pay the bills. Well, things have turned around a lot. We're right at the max on our reserve fund accounts. We've got those notes restructured and set up to where it's a lot easier for them to make us payments on it. We're still expanding our infrastructure to keep up with the needs of the community. So I forgot how many more slides we got here. Yeah, just right. Things are a lot more fun being the mayor now than they were then. Now, as soon as I say that, the flood of 2022 will happen, but we're ready for it. I told the staff at the Christmas party, I said, bring it on. You guys need a good challenge. So things are good at the city. Again, I want to thank you guys for coming. I appreciate you, letting me stand up here and ramble. If a mayor can't stand in front of a group and ramble about his or her city, they shouldn't be mayor, in my opinion. So thank you. I'm happy to stick around and ask questions or answer questions if you've got any. I appreciate the chamber coming out. Glad you made it, Dawn. It's good to see y'all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Remember to register for the events in front of you on the table. But what a great city. What a great place to live. Thank you for your leadership. And like I said, thanks for being here today. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks.